Oh no, you have a property and it has a lien on it. It may be your property, it may be a property you purchased, it may be a foreclosure investing property. It's easy to have a lien get on a property. How do you get a lien off of a property? Here's 10 possible ways to remove liens from property. The first and most direct is to record a release of lien. That requires that the lien holder or representative authorize that. So if the lien can be released, then that release document needs to be recorded. Remember, the original lien document itself is not going to disappear from the land records. It's going to still be there, but the separate release recording will be recorded in a different book, match up with that original lien, and it has the effect of removing it from the title. There may also be an opportunity for statutory tolling of that lien, meaning that after a certain period of time, statute of limitations on that lien causes it to effectively be removed from the property. So check on the type of lien and what the statute is for that jurisdiction of when that lien goes away. The other number 3 for methods of removing a lien are to negotiate other collateral. If there's a lien on one property and you need to do something with that property, sell it, mortgage it, finance it, there may be a way to take that lien and shift it to other collateral, maybe another piece of property, maybe a bank account, maybe a vehicle, maybe a promissory note, but that way you can get that lien or that debt off the property onto something else so that property can keep rolling. Worst case scenario, number 4, you can do a quiet title action where you can basically do a court case, sue the property itself to have that item removed. If the lien is not opposed by the lien holder. There's a separate video we have on quiet titles. You can find that. Number 5 is an estoppel letter. That's a letter from the lien holder identifying what the amount of that lien is, what it takes to clear it, and then that will give a finite directions on how to clear that lien from the title. Number 6 is if the lien is a default judgment lien, where there was never a contested case, it was just a court case, a lawsuit that resulted in a default judgment. You may be able to void that default judgment if it was not contested by the defendant. So take a look and see if in your state get good legal advice on this from an attorney, if you could void the default judgment. One method that's used by homeowners associations, which is number 7 on our list, is to foreclose a priority encumbrance, meaning that let's say there's a property that's in foreclosure, the borrowers haven't paid their mortgage in years, they may even have moved out, the homeowners association fees are not being paid, and the homeowner association can't do anything with that property because there's a mortgage on it. Well, some HOAs are using a clever method of foreclosing on their priority encumbrance to void that mortgage lien, so that way that property can keep rolling and it doesn't burden the other property owners in that subdivision from not having their revenue from that property to pay for their common area fees or whatever else needs to be paid. On a mechanics lien, number 8, you may be able to get a general contractor lien waiver, so that the general contractor is taking that lien waiver off the property so the subcontractors don't have a lien, and it's on the GC to make sure that that gets paid. So for mechanics liens, you may be able to get a GC waiver, a lien waiver to make that mechanics lien go away. Number 9, if it's an IRS tax lien from the federal government, you may be able to do an offer in compromise or OIC to have that lien removed from the property or reduce in value, or in some cases even negotiated to a lower amount if you're an investor. So IRS tax liens, negotiate it down if you're a third-party investor, maybe an offer in compromise to do that. Number 10 is a bond or escrow. If there's a lien on a property and you need to sell it or you need to finance it, you may be able to put up a bond in the amount of that lien to get it off the property, do what you got to do with the property, and then maybe use those funds to pay off the bond, or if the funds are held in escrow, to release those funds from escrow. I'm going to give you a bonus. Number 11 is subrogation. If you can get the lien holder to subordinate their lien, you may be able to refinance the property. So if you want to refinance your first mortgage or get a second mortgage, but there's a tax lien, you may be able to get that lien holder to subordinate, which means put their priority lower to get that financing done. One thing to keep an eye on is bankruptcy is not a way to get rid of a lien. That's one thing that's not on the list. Don't count on a bankruptcy to take a lien off a property. It may eliminate that debt from the borrower, from the debtor, but it's probably not going to take that lien off of any property that's encumbering the property. Now, one other thing to keep in mind is if the lien itself is a judgment for child support, parking tickets, in some states parking tickets or speeding tickets can become a lien on a property, or even code violations. The debtor or the property owner can oppose that lien by claiming a hardship, claiming it's not allowing them to sell their property, and then it's an undue burden on them to either pay the child support. For example, if you go to the child support division and say, look, I want to pay this child support, but I have to sell my house because the mortgage payment is too high for me to pay that and the child support, so take the lien off, I'll sell my house, get a lower payment, and pay the child support. There may be a way to oppose some of these claims and get it removed. The same could go for code violations and tickets. So there's many ways to remove liens from a property. Start by identifying what the liens are, where they came from, who's the lien holder, and then get good legal advice to see which method might be appropriate for the needs of that particular scenario.